When you're looking to buy your next property, use the Octopus Rule. It's called the Octopus Rule. Let me show it to you. So you have an octopus over here, and obviously an octopus has 8 legs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now when you're buying a property, make sure the Octopus Rule covers your entire purchase in terms of the criteria of selecting this unit, apartment, townhouse or house. Now the 8 legs over here are divided into 2 categories. They're called the W category and the Q category. So the first 4 legs will have 4 W's and the last 4 legs will have 4 Q's, and I'll digress. So the first tentacle in the W side is what, and it stands for what is the people, what type of property you're buying, what is the position, and what is the price of the property. People is, for example, the agent, the solicitors, the broker, who is involved, what is their degree of experience in this purchase. Then property is like, what type of property is it? Does it suit the current and more importantly, future markets in terms of when you're buying this? Next is position. Is the property in a good spot? Remember, location, location, location. And lastly, price. What is the price that you pay for it? Now, after you've got your tentacles on these 4 criteria, you can move on to the next W of the second tentacle. This stands for who. And in terms of who, there's 2 things you need to look at. Who is the tenant and who is the buyer? For example, for who is the tenant, can you get more rent via more tenants or higher paying ones? Who's going to rent the investment off you? Next is buyer. Who will be the buyer of your property when it's time to resell? Have you thought about that? And the next tentacle of number 3 is where. In terms of where this property is located, ask yourself, will this property retain its value, gain its value, or lose its value in the future? And the last category of W in terms of the 4th tentacle is when. In this last tentacle, it's very important to know when is the property you're buying, in which cycle it belongs to. Is it in the recovery stage, upswing, peak, downturn, stagnation, or trough? And the next 4 tentacles in the remaining category of Q is very easy to remember. It's just 4 quadrants. It relates to when. Where in the market's position in terms of the property life cycle is your property belong to? Is it in the recovery stage, the upturn stage, the downturn stage, or stagnation? Very similar to the last tentacle of W of when. Now I can go on forever for the last 4 quadrants in terms of the 4 Qs, but to briefly say, on the property clock of where your property belongs, it all depends on the strength and direction of several key real estate indicators, including sales volumes, price, rent momentum, underlying housing demand, new and existing housing supply, employment generation, and growth in household income. Overall, when you're buying your next property, just get this, hypothetical, metaphorical octopus and just plump it over the property and ask yourself these 8 questions, and hopefully it will give you clarity on your next purchase. Jump in the comments, let me know what you think.